Hello everyone, welcome to T1 Academy. Friends, today in the topic of science and technology, we'll be learning about a topic that is defense. My friends, in this rapid revision program, we'll be focusing upon the important aspects with respect to defense which might be asked in your UPSC CSE examination. Now, when it comes to defense, the first important organization that you have to remember is DRDO. When it comes to DRDO, my friends, this is the research and development organization for the Indian Armed Forces. It develops missiles and various equipments including food and even clothing for the defense personnels. This being a research organization, one important point that you have to remember with DRDO is it was established in the year 1958 on 1st January. And on 1st January every year, we celebrate DRDO Establishment Day. And this organization, that is Defense Research and Development Organization, is today 67 years old. And the motto or the theme of DRDO, if someone asks you, it is Balasya Mulyam Vignanam. What is that, my friend? Balasya Mulyam Vignanam is the motto of DRDO. Very, very important. The strength comes from the knowledge. That's what it means, Balasya Mulyam Vignanam. Now, when it comes to the establishment of DRDO, one point that you have to remember is 1958 and it is 67 years old, and it was established by amalgamation of three important organizations. What are those three important organizations? Those include Technical Development Establishment, TDE of the Indian Army. The other one include Directorate of Technical Development and Production, DTDP. And the last one, the Defence Science Organization, DSO. These three independent organizations were amalgamated or merged into one single organization in the year 1958 to be named as Defence Research and Development Organization, that is the present day DRDO. My friends, apart from DRDO, when it comes to defense, one has to be very clear with respect to what are the different types of missile systems we have in India, and also how to categorize these missile systems, what we are going to learn. First, categorization. In the categorization that you have to see is what are the different types of missiles we have. One is ballistic missile, the other is cruise missile. Knowing the differentiation between ballistic and cruise missile is a sine qua non for your preparation for UPSC. Now let me show a ballistic missile and the path of a ballistic missile. For example, these are the 2 points on the earth, and this is the point from where you are launching your missile, and this is the point where your missile has to hit. Now, if a particular missile takes a parabolic path or a ballistic path, that is, it goes into the space to a certain extent, and from there it comes and hit the target, and this trajectory path of a missile is considered as ballistic path, and any missile which follows this particular trajectory is considered to be a ballistic missile, my friends. One important point I would like to tell you with respect to ballistic missile is ballistic missile uses energy or uses rocket engine. What is the engine we are using? Rocket engine, and this engine only works during the launch. And during its descent stage, that is when it is coming down and hitting its target, during its descent stage, there is no fuel or no engine working. The fuel for this descent stage is your gravity. The fuel for descent stage is your gravity. That is only during the launch you have to produce it the energy, or you have to give it the energy, and during its descent stage, while it is hitting the target, the gravity may play a major role. When it comes to ballistic missile, my friends, one important drawback of a ballistic missile is that its accuracy is not as high when compared to the cruise missile, and its accuracy is based on the range. Within that particular circle, it can fall here, here or here. This is how a ballistic missile works. Point number one, ballistic missile, take a ballistic trajectory, that is a parabolic trajectory, and it needs fuel only during its launch, and during its descent stage it does not need fuel. The fuel for descent stage is your gravity. Now, what is the type of the engine it is using? The type of the engine it is going to use is your rocket engine. Now, hope you understood something about your ballistic missile. Now, let me tell you a cruise missile. How does a cruise missile work? A cruise missile, apart from the ballistic missile, it uses a different engine. when you have seen that ballistic missile is using the rocket engine, whereas the cruise missile uses jet engine. It would be ramjet, or it could also be a scramjet. Okay, ramjet engine or a scramjet engine. Either of these two engines could be used. In general, how does a cruise missile work is, cruise missile generally hit a target when it is parallel to the earth. And cruise missiles do not have long ranges, whereas ballistic missile can go very long ranges up till the kilometers of 5,500 kilometers, where that particular missile will be called as intercontinental ballistic missile. That is, if any one missile can reach a target of 5,500 kilometers, that particular missile will be called as what, my friends? Intercontinental ballistic missile. Note this point, my friends. Okay, whereas cruise missile cannot go such a long distances. The maximum they can go as of today's technology, 200 to 250 kilometers. They go to very short distances. Thus are called as cruise missile. Whereas ballistic missile will follow a ballistic path like this, whereas cruise missile will be launched parallel to the surface of the earth. If this is the earth, this will be the parallel path that a cruise missile goes. And one important point that you have to remember here is, cruise missile need continuous supply of fuel till it hits its target. If it is launched from here, it needs continuous supply of fuel till it is going to hit your point B, that is your targeted point. So these are the few important points that you have to remember with respect to the ballistic and a cruise missile. Now, there are various versions of ballistic missile and various versions of cruise missiles across the world, but we will be focusing ourselves on those missiles that India is using, India has developed, and India is also planning to export. Only those will be focused. Don't worry, my friends, I will be keeping on explaining how all of the missiles work eventually also. So you can see here, this is a typical ballistic missile and also the most advanced ballistic missile, which is called as MIRV type of ballistic missile. What is MIRV? MIRV stands for Multiple Independent Re-entry Vehicle. Multiple Independent Re-entry Vehicle System. What we are going to learn here, my friends? MIRV technology, Multiple Independent Re-entry Vehicle System, where one ballistic missile will launch different payloads which can go and hit at different targets. This is called a ballistic missile with MIRV technology. My friends, India has developed its own MIRV technology. Please comment what was the name of the mission that recently India has launched with respect to development of MIRV technology. What is the mission? Please comment in the comment section. Okay. Now, this is a description with respect to the ballistic missile. I have already said you most of the things, that is, it takes a ballistic trajectory, and when one important point that I wanted to say you, that its direction is determined by the effects of Coriolis force, because it gets deflected because it is going beyond the Earth's atmosphere. That's one important point you have to remember. That's what I tried to explain you during rocket launches also, right? Now, as I said you, ballistic missiles come with various ranges, but ballistic missiles have long ranges when compared to cruise missile. What are the different types of ballistic missiles we have? We have a short range ballistic missile, it goes up till 1000 kilometers. A medium range ballistic missile goes up till around 3500 kilometers. We have an intermediate range ballistic missile that can go up till 5500 kilometers. But if any particular missile goes beyond this 5500 kilometers, that particular missile will be called as intercontinental ballistic missile, simply to be said ICBM. Remember, which missile will be called as ICBM? If any missile could go beyond the 5500 kilometers, it will be called as intercontinental ballistic missile. Yes, India do have intercontinental ballistic missiles. Those are Agni 5 missile system. Do India have intercontinental ballistic missile? Yes, India has intercontinental ballistic missile system. Next, this is a cruise missile. You can see the differentiation in this diagram where a cruise missile, when it is launched from the surface, it going the parallel path to the surface of the earth and it hits the target. Whereas a ballistic missile, it goes in a ballistic path. You can see it goes in a ballistic path and hits the target. Two important points you have to note down here, very very important. I request you to write down those points. Number one, cruise missiles come within the radar of the enemies. That is, radar can detect the cruise missile very easily. The incoming of cruise missile can be detected by, you can write incoming of cruise missile can be detected easily by radars, enemy radar. The enemies can predict, yes, there is a missile coming inside our country, right? Whereas ballistic missiles, the incoming of ballistic missiles cannot be predicted or cannot be seen by the enemy radars, because the ballistic missile goes beyond the radar range or radar limit. You can see it is going beyond the radar and it can hit the target without even warning the enemies. Without even warning the enemies, which type of missile can hit the target? Ballistic missile. Remember, ballistic missile beyond radar. These are few important points. These figures make a lot of sense. You can see within the Earth atmosphere, the cruise missile goes. But beyond the Earth atmosphere, what is the missile that's going on? That is your ballistic missile. What type of engine does a ballistic missile use? Rocket engine. That's why it goes like this. It can hit far targets. Whereas cruise missile, it uses jet engine or a jet engine, that is scramjet or a ramjet type of engine. As I said your cruise missiles can also be divided based on their speed. In general, ballistic missiles were divided based on the distance that they can hit, whereas cruise missiles are based on the speed they can go. Number one, hypersonic cruise missiles. If any missile can go up till a speed of 5 Mach, that is just 5 times the speed of the sound. Okay, these missiles would travel at the speed of 5 times that of sound, and these are called as hypersonic missile systems. Example of hypersonic missile system is BrahMos missile. My friends, if you want to know about the BrahMos, keep continuing watching this video. You will also know about the BrahMos missile, which was developed by Russia and India as a joint venture. What is the type of fuel in this missile system and how does this missile system work? We will also be learning eventually. Next, after hypersonic, the other type of speed that we are going to achieve by using cruise missile is your supersonic speed. Supersonic speeds range from 2 to 3 Mach, that is 2 to 3 times the speed of the sound, and the BrahMos missile is another example. BrahMos 2 is the latest version of BrahMos missile. Not all missiles can reach hypersonic speed. Only few missiles across the world can achieve this hypersonic speed. Next, subsonic is less than the speed of the sound. Okay, please comment in your comment section what is the speed of the sound in the comment box. Please tell me what is the speed of the sound. I need the speed of the sound in meter per second and also in kilometer per hour. Now, as I was explaining you, what is the differentiation between the ballistic and cruise missile? Here you can see. Okay, the propellant is only used during the launch. Okay, only a definite period. After a definite duration, there is no fuel supply for the ballistic missile. While it is self-propelled and continuously propelled till it is reaching the target. Here we use rocket engine, here we use a jet engine. Okay, these are for long range, the Earth's atmosphere only, this goes beyond the Earth atmosphere. That is, it goes into the space and from the space it comes and hit the target. This has low precision, ballistic missile has low precision, whereas cruise missile has high precision in nature. Okay, they have long range, they are short range. The payload capacity, that is the amount of warhead. In the tons capacity, the amount of warhead or bombs it can take is very high in ballistic missile, whereas in cruise missile, it is not as high as this one. There can be a multiple re-entry launch vehicle or multiple independent targetable re-entry vehicles in this technology. Usually it carries a single payload. Okay, it can carry nuclear warheads and it carries conventional warheads. Remember that ballistic missiles are majorly used to carry the nuclear warheads. Example for ballistic missile include Prithvi 1, Prithvi 2, Agni and Dhanush systems, whereas examples of cruise missile include your BrahMos missile system. Don't worry my friends, each and every slide will be shared with you so that you can also revise for yourself. Now when it comes to missile technology, there is an important organization that you have to know in order to solve questions much and much easier. There is an organization called Missile Technology Control Regime in the world. What is the organization? MTCR. MTCR stands for Missile Technology Control Regime. My friends, this Missile Technology Control Regime was established in order to see that is this missile technology being misutilized by forces like terrorist forces in order to create disturbances across the world. In order to see that this technology do not falls into the hands of the bad people, this organization was established in the year 1987 by Group of 7, that is G7 countries. What are the G7 countries, my friend? G7 countries include US, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Japan and Italy. Okay. Now this organization, that is Missile Technology Control Regime organization, all the directions given by MTCR are not legally binding, my friend. This is one important point. This is just an informal political understanding based organization. Remember what is MTCR? MTCR was started in order to check, in order to stop the proliferation of unmanned delivery systems, that is the rockets or your missiles which are basically unmanned, that is no man is driving them to deliver the target. Okay. So unmanned delivery systems for nuclear weapons. So in order to control that terrorist forces or wrong hands grabbing this technology and developing more and more missiles in order to create disturbance in the world, in order to stop such thing, in the year 1987, Group of 7 countries established a regime called as Missile Technology Control Regime. If someone asks you, is MTCR binding on the countries or any recommendation given by MTCR is binding on another country? No, it is not binding. Currently there are around 35 members, my friend. India is a member of Missile Technology Control Regime, whereas China is not a member. China is not a member. You can see it here, I have given it. China is not a member, but India is a member of Missile Technology Control Regime. Remember, is China a member of Missile Technology Control Regime? No. Is India a member of Missile Technology Control Regime? Yes. Okay. Every member in general, my friends, they will be giving a list of how many weapons they hold, who did they export from, or where the technology has been shared with. All those things will be telling. And India became a member of Missile Technology Control Regime in the year 2016. Remember this. In which year India became a member of Missile Technology Control Regime? 2016. Next. This is not much important, my friend. There is a model prelims question. Please focus on the board to solve this question so that you are clear with your concepts and is it able to help you solve this question. Now, ballistic missiles are similar to the rocket engine, whereas cruise missiles are similar to the jet engine. Is this statement true or wrong? Yes, this statement is absolutely correct because ballistic missile uses rocket, whereas cruise missiles use jet engine. Generally, the accuracy of cruise missiles is low compared to ballistic missile. This statement is wrong because in general, cruise missiles accuracy is very high when compared to the ballistic missile. Ballistic missile can hit a long range, but cruise missile can hit precision targets. So this statement is wrong. Next, generally ballistic missiles are long range whereas cruise missiles are short range. Absolutely correct. We have seen that ballistic missiles can go beyond 5,500 kilometers whereas cruise missiles cannot go such a long distances. They only go to small distances around 120, 200 and 250 kilometers, that's it. So even this statement is absolutely correct. So which of these statements is or are correct? The question is or are correct, then your answer will be statement 1 and statement 3, that is option B. That's very, very important. Now, the most important part of your defense technology is to see what are the different missile systems that India has developed. My friends, India has started a beautiful program to make itself self-reliant with respect to the defense technology. That beautiful program is, my friend, Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. What is that program that India has started? IGMDP, that is Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, under the auspicious leadership of the great leader APJ Abdul Kalam. We have started this program, Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. My friend, under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, India has developed 5 different missile systems, that is in an acronym PATNA: Prithvi, Akash, Trishul, Nag and Agni. What are those, my friends? Prithvi, Akash, Trishul, Nag and Agni. Like Panchabhutas, what we call in Panchabhutas, we have developed 5 important missile systems. The name for this acronym that is not given by the government, for you to remember, you can remember by the name PATNA. P stands for Prithvi, A stands for Akash, T stands for Trishul, okay, and N stands for Nag and A again stands for Agni. Okay. So, Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, write down few important points. It was started in the year 1983 and it came to a conclusion by the year 2012. When was Integrated Guided Missile Development Program started, my friends? In the year 1983 and came to an end in 2012. And it was basically the idea to develop missiles for India, to be self-reliant in missile technology, was started by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, to make India what? Self-sufficient in missile technology. Okay. So, what is this Integrated Guided Missile Development Program? Basically, India became a member of Missile Technology Control Regime only in the year 2016. So, before 2016, it was hard for India to develop its own missile system. And it had to ask the countries, developed countries like USA and all those, we had to rely on them. We were asking them, why don't you transfer us the technology? We will develop, we will also save ourselves, because India's neighborhood is never peaceful. India's neighborhood include Pakistan, China, who are always hostile to us. It was never peaceful. So, in order to counter the restrictions put by the Missile Technology Control Regime, we did not allow the developed countries and most of the countries in the world which had this missile technology to be transferred into country which did not have its own missile program. So, for that purpose, to become a self-reliant country, we have started this. As I said you, we have developed 5 important missile systems under this. See, there are different missiles. Some missiles will go from surface to surface, some missiles will just go from surface to air, some missiles will go from air to air. So, these different systems were developed. Let us see what are those 5 systems. First is Prithvi, as I said you, as an acronym PATNA. Prithvi is a short-range surface-to-surface ballistic missile. Please note this down. Prithvi is what? Short-range surface-to-surface ballistic missile. When I taught you ballistic missile, what is a short-range ballistic missile? A short-range ballistic missile is a missile which can go up till 1000 kilometers, right? So, from that, Prithvi, surface-to-surface. Agni is an intermediate range surface-to-surface ballistic missile again. Trishul is a short range surface to air missile. How the Lord Shiva throws a Trishul, right? From surface he is standing and he throws into the air. That is surface to air. Next, Akash. Akash is a medium range air to air, surface to air ballistic, surface to air missile system. Next, Nag is an anti-tank missile. In army we have different tanks, right? In order to destroy these tanks, we have developed a system called as what? Nag. Very, very important. So, we will eventually learn about each of these different missiles. You can see India has a capability to reach beyond 5,500 kilometers by the development of Agni 5 missile system. My friend, Agni 5 can reach up till the parts of all of China. We can hit any part of China by using the Agni 5 missile. You can see what are the different ranges of missiles we have and what are the targets they can hit. Don't worry, each of them I will be explaining you. Okay. Now, Agni missile system, the most important missile system of India, but under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, which was started in the year 1983. Can you say the first missile developed under this program? The first missile that developed under this program was Prithvi missile system. was what, my friends? Prithvi missile systems. You can see these are the different versions of Agni missile systems, Agni 1 to Agni 5, and there is also a submarine launched version of Agni missile, that is K type of missiles. Whenever you see this word called K missile systems, K missiles. K missiles basically are missiles which are launched from submarine. What are the K missiles, my friend? These are the missiles which are basically launched from the submarines. So remember that one point. Now, Agni missile systems. There are various versions of Agni missile. Now, what is the type of engine we use in a ballistic missile, my friend? Rocket engine, right? When you are using a rocket engine, we have seen in our space technology that there are different stages in launching a rocket. First stage, second stage, third stage. And we have also seen different types of fuels are used, basically solid fuel and liquid fuels, right? Now we will see how many stages are there, because more number of stages determine that it can reach more or long distances, and type of fuel also determine the technology and the distance they can reach. Now when you see, there are 5 important versions of Agni missile which are under induction, which are already inducted into the Indian armed forces. And there are other versions of Agni, I will also discuss about them, but focus here. Agni 1 missile system. This is a single stage solid fuel, rail and road mobile based short range ballistic missile, my friends. That is, it can be launched from a back of the vehicle, that is like a truck, very big truck, or it can be put on the railway track, and it can also be launched from the railway track. So Agni 1, what is an Agni 1? Single stage solid fuel based short range ballistic missile, whereas Agni 2 has 2 stages. Stage 1, if this is a rocket, if this is a rocket engine that it is launching, this is solid fuel and this is also solid fuel. This is 2 stage. 2 stage is nothing but first ignited, goes into the space, and the down one will drop, and again it gives a new ignition. This type of ignition will give you enough thrust to place this particular missile into the space beyond the radar. Now my friend, Agni 2, you can see 1 stage, 2 stage, and this is a complete solid fuel. This is an intermediate range ballistic missile. IRBM stands for what, my friend? Intermediate range ballistic missile. Whereas Agni 2, there is a new version of Agni 2. This is a 2 stage solid fuel, rail and road integrated intermediate range ballistic missile. Whereas Agni 3, see, from after Agni 1, everywhere you can see till Agni 3 you will have only 2 stages. 2 stage solid fuel, intermediate range ballistic missile. Whereas Agni 5, very important, Agni 5 is an 3 stage solid fuel, rail and road ballistic missile. Now what are the points you have to remember here? Let me tell you. What you have to remember, I will make it easy for you. Number 1 is the stages. If you look into the stages, that Agni 1 missile has single stage, whereas Agni 2 and Agni 3 missiles have 2 stage solid fuel. Okay. Now whereas Agni 5 missile system has 3 stage. So this is very important. How many stages are there in this missile system? And what is the particular type of fuel that is used in all Agni missiles is solid fuel. And what are the ranges of these Agni 5 missiles are also very important. That's why I made them into a separate slide. You can see Agni 1 missile, it's a medium range ballistic missile. Agni 2 is a medium range ballistic missile, whereas Agni 3 and Agni 4 are intermediate range ballistic missiles, whereas Agni 5 is an intercontinental ballistic missile. Agni 6 missile, which is under development, it will be an intercontinental ballistic missile. At present, the Agni 5 missile has a range of 5,000 to 8,000 kilometers. That is, it can reach the areas of Far East Russia. Even this missile can reach Far East Russia and regions. These are the different payloads that it can carry. That is how much amount of payload that it can carry has been written here. One important point I would like to add it here, the Agni 5 missile system is India's only MIRV technology based missile system. What is MIRV? I have just explained you. If any particular ballistic missile can launch different payloads on the different locations, that is called as MIRV technology, multiple independent re-entry vehicle system. that MIRV technology has been inducted into which of the missile systems of India? If someone asks you, it has been inducted into the Agni 5 missile systems. Okay. So this is how an Agni 5 missile system looks like. You can see it can reach areas beyond the Far East Russia or Far East of Russia. You can see the 3 stages of Agni missile system, and this is a ballistic missile. Very, very important system, my friend. So recently mission Divyastra, as I have said you to comment in the comment section, mission Divyastra was developed by whom? DRDO, in order to showcase the MIRV technology in India. The next important missile system of India is Prithvi missile system, my friends. Prithvi missile system is the first missile that was developed under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, and Prithvi has 3 versions, one Army, one Navy and another Air Force version. You can see Army version is the first missile that was developed. Prithvi 1 is an Army version. Prithvi 1 can reach ranges of 150 kilometers. It can carry a payload of 1000 kg. And whereas Prithvi 2 is an Air Force version, it can go to the ranges of 350 kilometers, and Prithvi 3 is the naval version of Prithvi missile, and it can go to 600 kilometers. This is how a Prithvi missile looks like, and this is an Army variant. Remember, what you have to remember in Prithvi missile is the first missile to be developed under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, and the other point you have to remember is Prithvi missile has various versions, that is Army version, Navy version and also the Air Force version missile systems. Next is Dhanush. My friends, Dhanush is the naval variant of Prithvi missile. Don't even get confused. Sir, you have said Patna only 5 missiles. Where did this missile come from? That is Dhanush. Don't worry, my friend. Dhanush is the naval version name given to the Prithvi missile. What is Dhanush? Naval variant or naval variant of Prithvi missile. This is how a Dhanush looks like. It is launched from a ship. Okay. Dhanush is a variant of surface to surface or ship to ship Prithvi 3 missile. Okay. This was inducted into Indian Army, Indian Navy, my friends, and it can carry a payload of 500 to 1000 kgs and it can hit the targets up to 350 kilometers. Remember, what is Dhanush, my friend? Dhanush is a naval variant of Prithvi missile. Very, very important. Okay, this is the operational range of Dhanush, my friends. You can see these are the different ranges that it can go. Now let's solve a prelims question so that you are confident that we are going in the right direction. Let's see one. This is about Agni 4 missile, which we haven't discussed there because I left it for the discussion at this point. Now my friends, tell me, what is an Agni missile? It is a surface to surface missile, we all know. Agni missile is a ballistic missile, we all know that. And Agni missile started from the medium range, intermediate range and intercontinental range, right? Let's see. It is a surface to surface missile, yes, absolutely correct. We have seen that all the Agni missiles are fueled by solid fuel, then this is wrong. Then it is saying that it is fueled by only liquid, then this statement will be wrong. It can deliver 1 ton nuclear warhead to about 7500 kilometers. My friend, Agni 5 range is this. This is not the Agni 4 range. So what will be your answer? Option A is the correct answer. What will be your answer? Only option A will be the correct statement. So let me also take you to various other missiles that are developed by DRDO and Indian Research and Development Organizations. Let's see, Astra. Astra is basically air-to-air missile system. It can have a range of 80 kilometers. Remember what are Astras? Astras are basically launched by the airplanes. Okay. Next is Trishul, which is developed under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. I have said Trishul is surface to air missile and it has a range of 9 kilometers. Akash, this is the same missile which is developed under Integrated Guided Missile Development Program. Akash is surface to air missile system. It has a range of 30 kilometers. Next is Prithvi Air Defense. That is, this defense system has been developed by India to destroy the incoming ballistic missile. For example, if some country is sending a ballistic missile onto India, in order to destroy this ballistic missile in the air itself before it hits the target, that system that India has developed was Prithvi Air Defense System, surface to air defense system. It has a range of 2000 kilometers. Nag is an surface to surface anti-tank missile system. That is, it going to go and hit the tanks which the army uses. This is an anti-tank missile system. It has a range of 4 kilometers. Prahar is a surface to surface. These are the new versions which are evolving today. It has a range of 150 kilometers. BrahMos is a cruise missile. It has different versions, that is Navy, Army and Air Force versions. It has a range of 300 kilometers. Nirbhay missile system, it also has naval, Air Force and Army variants. It has a range of 1000 kilometers. And K series, whenever you see this term K series in your UPSC, especially with respect to missile system, this K series is basically underwater or submarine missile systems. Okay. Next, Dhanush, as just said you, Dhanush is a naval variant of Prithvi missile, sea to sea or ship to ship. And Shaurya is a surface to surface missile system which was recently developed and has a range of 1900 kilometers. As I said you, what is Astra? Air to air missiles. Astras are what? Beyond visual range air to air missile. I will give a small homework, my friends. Please see what is beyond visual range. After how many kilometers do you call it as a beyond visual range? That is very, very important. What is the range of this missile? The range of this missile is 70 kilometers. What is this? Astra missile. It can achieve a speed of almost 5500 kilometers per hour. That is how many times the speed of the sound if you take it. That also I want you to say. Okay, this is what? All weather beyond visual range, all weather beyond visual range missile system. And this is the India's first beyond visual range missile system. That's why I have added this thing. Remember, what is Astra, my friend? This is India's first beyond visual range air to air missile system. India's first beyond visual range air to air missile system. Now comment in the comment section, what does beyond visual range means? How many kilometers? If it crosses how many kilometers, it is considered as beyond visual range. This is small work, do this. Next, Trishul, as I said you, surface to air missile developed under integrated guided missile development program. Just we have seen the diagram. Okay. This is Nag. This is an anti-tank missile system. There are various versions of Nag. One such version is helicopter aided Nag missile system. It is considered as Helena. This is the newest version. Helicopter launched Nag missile. Okay. Next, Nirbhay missile. This is recently developed. This is a subsonic missile system, my friend. It is all-terrain stealth capable missile system. That is, it can reach up to a target of 1000 kilometers and enemy radars cannot detect the incoming of this particular missile. That is called Nirbhay missile. Next is Pinaka rocket system. India has developed its own rocket system. This is how a Pinaka rocket system, my friends. If ever you see the term Pinaka, these are basically multi-barrel loaded rocket system. Multi-barrel loaded rocket system developed by DRDO once again, my friend. Pinaka rocket system, very, very important. My friends, Pinaka rocket systems are using India's home developed IRNSS system to navigate these rockets to go and hit the target. My friends, Pinaka rocket system at present can reach up to a range of 80 kilometers. This is the range. Ranges are always important. For any missile, range is always important. Okay, they can go and hit the targets up to 80 kilometers. Next, Prahar is the latest version of surface to surface missile of India. I have already said you, it is 150 kilometers distance and it have good accuracy when compared to the other missiles. K-15, as I said you, K series is always considered to be submarine launch missile system. Whenever you see K, okay, but what is this K-15? This is the third leg of India, that is nuclear capable submarine launched ballistic missile. What is K-15, my friend? K-15 is nuclear capable submarine launched ballistic missile. What is SLBM means? Submarine launched ballistic missile. Okay. So this is K4, this is another ballistic missile. This is also an intermediate range ballistic missile developed by DRDO. So this is not much important. I have added all them so that you can solve a lot of other questions. So which of the following is not part of integrated guided missile development program? Let's solve this question. Which of these missiles is not part of Integrated Guided Missile Development Program? Patna, right? Prithvi, Akash, Trishul, Nag and Agni. Agni, Trishul, Nag. Not BrahMos, not Tejas. 2 and 3 are not there in the Integrated Guided Missile. So, answer will be what? Option B, 2 and 3 only. Now, we come to learn an important missile system that India has developed through a joint venture with Russia, that is BrahMos missile. My friends, the name BrahMos has evolved from the names of river Brahmaputra of India and Moskva river, a river in Russia. So, if someone asks you, where did the name BrahMos evolve from? It evolved from the name of two rivers, Moskva river of Russia and Brahmaputra river of India. And these BrahMos missiles are developed basically by BrahMos Missile System Development Program, which is a joint venture, a company which was formed by the Russia and DRDO of India. Okay, it is a joint venture under DRDO and a Russian defense manufacturing company, a state-owned Russian defense manufacturing company. My friend, BrahMos has various versions. It has land variant, naval variant, and also it has a what? Submarine variant. It also has Air Force variant. So, these are the various types of BrahMos missiles or various platforms from which BrahMos missiles are launched. One important point, what is this BrahMos missile? One, this is a cruise missile. This is a cruise missile. Now, what is the fuel that we are using in the BrahMos missile? Now, if you see, BrahMos missile is using which type of engine? Jet engine. Cruise missiles are jet engines. What is the fuel we are going to use here? Initially, BrahMos missile at its first stage uses solid propellant booster. That is, if you are going to launch BrahMos missile from the land, it goes like this. Initially solid fuel. After exhausting the solid fuel, it turns like this. The BrahMos missile changes its direction because it has to cruise parallel to the surface of the earth, changes direction, and while it is cruising, it uses another fuel that is called as liquid fuel. Solid propellant booster at the first stage and liquid ramjet at the second stage. This is one important point you have to note down in your book. What is the type of fuel and engines in the BrahMos missile? Initially, it is using a solid fuel propellant booster at the first stage, and in the second stage, it is using liquid fueled ramjet engine. My friends, jet engines only use liquid fuels, they never use the solid fuels. That's why this is a very important point. How many stages are there in the BrahMos missile? If someone asks you tomorrow, there are two stages. First stage is solid, second stage is liquid. At first stage, we are using the solid boosters, and the second stage, we are using liquid propellant based ramjet engine. Okay, this is very sophisticated system, my friend. They are independently navigable, and today we are developing the BrahMos missiles to a range up till 290 kilometers also. Okay, there are different versions and different ranges of BrahMos missile. Air launched cruise missile, maximum version is 400 kilometers. Anti-ship cruise missile, that is 450. Surface to surface variant, we have 450 kilometers version, and submarine launched also we have 450 kilometers. So, maximum range as of today, that is 450 kilometers for BrahMos missile. Okay, now it uses inertial navigation system, and it can also use multiple navigation systems like GLONASS, Gagan and GPS systems for improving its accuracy. The version of the BrahMos, they are basically easy to transport. They can be launched from any platform, from a static platform, or they can also be launched from a ship like this, and they can also be launched from a vehicle like this. You can see a BrahMos barrel mounted on a vehicle. They can be launched from even a ship like this. Okay. So, these are the new versions of BrahMos. BrahMos A is a modified air launched variant of BrahMos, my friend, so that it can be launched from Sukhoi aircrafts. It has a range up to 500 kilometers. Remember one point, that BrahMos A is an air version of BrahMos missile. It can reach the targets up till 500 kilometers. So, submarine launched variant also we have. It can go, it was basically inducted into the Indian naval forces, my friend. It was basically tested at Visakhapatnam in the year 2013. Next, BrahMos 2. This is a hypersonic version of BrahMos which is under the development. My friend, not every country in the world has capability to develop hypersonic speeds. Hypersonic speeds are very hard to achieve, and to burn the fuel at hypersonic speed, that is speed beyond 5 times the speed of the sound, is very hard. Now the India is developing its own hypersonic technology demonstration vehicle HSTDV, and it has successfully demonstrated it. If this is inducted, BrahMos 2 will have a range of 1000 kilometers and it can reach speeds up to 8 times the speeds of the sound. 8 times the speeds of the sound, and it will be using scramjet engine. What is the jet that is going to be used in BrahMos 2? Scramjet engine. Okay. BrahMos NG, this is another variant of BrahMos, not much very important, but just look at this. So this is the end of the topic, my friends, with respect to the defense and defense based missile systems. We'll be focusing ourselves on a topic called as nanotechnology. My friends, when it comes to nanotechnology, the questions are very simpler and you need not need a deep insight or deep knowledge with respect to nanotechnology in order to solve any of the question given in the prelims. And one important point, when you are solving any question in your prelims, science and technology, that science has unlimited possibilities and almost everything is possible by the science. But it is very important to know what are not possible by the science. Especially in biotechnology, you have to understand what can be done by biotechnology is not what you have to remember. What cannot be done by the biotechnology is what you have to be remembering. In the same way, for the nanotechnology also, there are few points which you have to remember in order to get the exam to go in a smooth way. Number one, my friends, when you are looking into this nanotechnology, the definitions are not necessary because you are not here to write any answer. Nanotechnology is a science which basically deals with materials at nanoscale, that is 1 to 100 into 10 to the power of minus 9 scale. This is the range of nanotechnology, my friends. Okay, Richard Feynman, who is my friend? Dr. Richard Feynman. Richard Feynman is considered as father of nanotechnology in the world, whereas Dr. CNR Rao is considered as father of nanotechnology in India. It's a great person, a great scientist, a Bharat Ratna awardee. CNR Rao is considered as father of nanotechnology in India. These 2 points are necessary. Now, as I said to you, what is the scale of nanotechnology? 1 to 100 nanometers. 1 nanometer is equal to 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. Okay, these objects are such small, such little that they can be inserted into your veins. They are as thin as your hair and sometimes much thinner than a strand of a hair. Okay, they can enter your bloodstream, they can solve a lot of diseases. They can be used in targeted delivery system. Now let us write all these points in order to get a clear knowledge. Beyond that, my friends, when you are learning nanotechnology, let's also see what are the different techniques used in the nanotechnology. Number one, top-down approach and bottom-up approach of nanotechnology. Wet and dry nanotechnology, these are what you have to understand. Before that, let's see what are the different generations of nanotechnology. Like from where did we start understanding the nanotechnology? Remember, my friend, a colloidal solution. For example, if you are mixing oil into the water, it forms a colloidal solution. So now this colloidal solution, or for example, take the milk. Milk is a colloidal solution where the fat is dispersed in the water. Milk is basically a fat inside water, right? So from the basic understanding of such colloidals, we have evolved in the nanotechnology. Let's see, the first generation of nanotechnology was a passive nanotechnology. Just you are understanding what are nanoparticles, how the nanomaterials are made, how the nanostructure is there. Just you are understanding it. It's a passive. You have no interaction. The second generation is active nanotechnology, where you are implementing this nanotechnology into the bioactive or human body or human health. Okay. Next is third generation nanotechnology, that is system of nanotechnology. That is, you are applying these nanomaterials to become robots, to do different operations, okay, inside your body, to clear tumors. That is called as evolutionary nanotechnology. The fourth is molecular nanotechnology, where you are using nanotechnology to manipulate the atoms or inside the atomic particles. Such technology is called as fourth generation nanotechnology. What are there? First one is passive, active, next one is system of nanotechnology, the last one is molecular nanotechnology, is where we are standing today. Okay, using nanotechnology to modify a particular given atom is called as atomic level of nanotechnology. I said you there are two types of approaches in learning the nanotechnology. One is top-down approach, where a large size particle, you are reducing that large size particle into smaller and smaller particles so that they can be used for various treatments. My friends, you might have heard about this, gold nanoparticles. My friends, gold nanoparticles have wide application, especially in treating various cancers. Okay, these gold nanoparticles are very rare to achieve. And today, we are extracting gold nanoparticles by using mushrooms. Okay, we are growing mushrooms on the ground, where these specially designed mushrooms will observe the gold nanoparticles from the ground, and when you process this mushroom, you will get gold nanoparticles. But gold as a single larger component that does not have same properties of the gold nanoparticle. Remember this one point, the particles do not behave same. That is, I am this big. Imagine I am becoming shorter to a nanoscale. Do you think I behave in the same way as I am this big? Because the amount of pressure that small me is going to get because of this atmosphere, because of this dust, is very different. Similar way, the particles, when they reduced into smaller and smaller sizes, they behave very differently when they were existed in the larger size. So that's why when you are reducing a larger particle into a smaller particle, that is called as top down approach. When you are making a smaller object to get clubbed and to make a larger object, that is called as bottom up approach. So in nanotechnology we use both the things. Whereas in bottom up approach, the most larger applications will be in medical fields, where you will be using smaller nanoparticles to build those parts you have lost in your body. This nanotechnology, my friend, remember, they can also be used to create veins, working veins of your body. Okay, so that's very important. This is top down and bottom up approach. Nanotechnology can also be divided into other two types. Dry nanotechnology, basically dealing with metallurgy, metal finishes, all those non-living organisms, is called dry nanotechnology. Whereas wet nanotechnology is application of this nanotechnology into medical or biomedical fields. Now, let me take into the different components of nanotechnology or different materials of nanotechnology. What is their use? How they are used? This is very important point. Few points I will tell you with respect to nanotechnology. Number one, with respect to the present day trend, nanotechnology is used for storage of hydrogen fuel. Very important point. Remember this. Today, India is having National Hydrogen Mission in order to save lot of energy and import of lot of energy from other countries. Under National Hydrogen Mission, my friends, we are using this hydrogen. Now, how to store this hydrogen? Hydrogen is not a stable gas. Okay, hydrogen is not stable. It is going to exert a lot of heat. Okay, lot of explosions could happen. In order that not to happen, we need some storage devices, right? So this nanotechnology will help you to store the hydrogen fuel. You might get confused, but you will eventually learn it. So we'll see what are these materials which are helping for you to achieve this task. Number one, carbon nanotubes. I need not to go and read each and everything, but remember, my friend, carbon nanotubes are such a little nanotubes which are basically made from carbon atoms like this. They are basically very thin, 1 nanometer thin, that is thinner than your hair. Now these carbon nanotubes, they can be allowed to enter into your bloodstream. Now these carbon nanotubes can be filled with particular medicines. These carbon nanotubes are oxidative in nature, that is, when they are coming in touch with oxygen, they get decayed easily without leaving any residue, and they are non-reactive in nature. That is, if I enter a carbon nanotube into my blood with some particular medicine, it will go into my blood, the oxygen in my blood will decay that particular medicine and it will release the medicine, and this type of delivery of medicine will be targeted delivery, and it can be used in treatment of cancers also, my friend. These carbon nanotubes, can they be used in the treatment of cancer? Yes. And if you arrange little by little carbon nanotube, you can get a little strand of carbon nanotube which can be used for joining the veins which are cut. Basically, if our vein is cut during an industrial accident or something, you can rebuild a particular part of your body by using this carbon nanotubes. Okay. So you can see the structure of carbon nanotube. This carbon nanotube, my friend, they are having large amount of strength. They are having large amount of strength. Just remember this one. They can be used for delivery of drugs. One important point you have to remember with carbon nanotube, it is used for storage of lithium. Storage of lithium. This is very, very important. They are storage of gases and lithium also. Okay, very, very important. That is, hydrogen gas can also be stored in this carbon nanotube. Little carbon nanotube containing little hydrogen. When all these carbon nanotubes, imagine small carbon nanotubes arranged into a big block, and each small carbon nanotube holding small amount of gas of hydrogen, when they release at a larger extent, imagine what it can do. Okay. So remember point number one, they can be used for storage of gases and lithium. They have high strength to weight ratio. Okay, they can easily penetrate to the membrane of human body. If I apply on the surface, they will go into my bloodstream directly without causing any pain on my body. Okay. When you see the application, these carbon nanotubes can reduce the heat emitted from your electronic devices. They can be used for making transistors. Okay, they can be made much efficient. They can be used in the manufacturing of photovoltaic cells, that is solar cells, increasing their efficiency. These are the applications. Electronic applications of nanotechnology is very, very high, my friend. The flexible phones what we are seeing today, the flexible TV screens what we are seeing today are the evolutionary form of nanotechnology. Flexible screens are made possible by what? Nanotechnology. To increase the efficiency of photovoltaic set, nanotechnology. To improve the smoothness of your car, to decrease the air resistance. See, when you are traveling in a car, there is a lot of air resistance. That resistance can also be reduced by using nanotechnology. Okay. So you can see they degrade because of oxidative enzymes, and they do not leave any residue. Okay, this is very, very important. They can also be used in creating blood vessels, as I said you. All the highlighted parts, I request you to pause and write them. I explained all of them, that need not to be worried. Next is graphene. Graphene is also an allotropy of carbon. Okay, it is a form of carbon. Graphene is by far the thinnest and the lightest material on the earth as of now. Okay, this is the world's thinnest and strongest and the most lightest metal, and it is basically one thin carbon sheet of carbon elements. My friend, graphene can be used for making flexible screens. Graphene can be used in solar cell manufacturing. They can be used in ethanol distillation. This is very important. And graphene can also be used in desalination plants. Desalination, that is, in order to turn the ocean water into fresh water, you can use graphene. And graphene or any of these carbon particles, my friend, all of these carbon nanoparticles have antibacterial properties. So they are having good nature, and they can be used in making optical electronics. They can also be used in making integrated circuits and also biomedical devices. Just look at the applications of graphene also. Next is fullerenes. Fullerenes is Buckminster. It is also called as C60. It is also an allotropy of carbon. That is another form of carbon. Buckminster, my friend, because of its structure, it has great applications in storage of hydrogen as a fuel. Hydrogen gas storage is possible in Buckminster fullerenes like this. This is Buckminster. Hydrogen is getting attached to it, and if you exert some amount of energy on this, all the hydrogen fuel will be exerted out. Remember this one point. I need not to read all lines, just go through them. See, Buckminster, they are used for hardening agents. That is, if you want to harden a surface, it can be used. It can be used to making this protective eyewear, which are very hard in nature. They are used in drug delivery. They are used as antiviral agents. They prevent cell toxicity, and they are used from protecting ourselves from ultraviolet rays. Now when you look at the applications of nanotechnology, one, electronics is the best application. In the field of electronics, you can make flexible devices like this by using nanotechnology. You can make transistors, you can make devices which are very light, okay, because nanotechnology is very thin, you can make battery size to get reduced. Because what is the type of battery we are using in cell phones? Lithium ion battery. Now these nanotubes or carbon nanotubes which can store lithium, don't you think that battery can become thinner and thinner and shorter? Don't you think by using graphene, which is very hard, you can make this device harder, which is unbreakable in nature? By using this carbon nanotechnology, can't you make transistors and integrated circuits which are very light, which are very thin and do not emit much of heat? Now you can see your telephones or cell phones, they emit lot of heat and radiation. All that are possible. The components become lighter, flexible, okay, non-breakable by using nanotechnology. When you look at the applications of nanotechnology in medicine, you have seen nanorobots. These nanorobots can be inserted into your bloodstream and you can direct these nanorobots which are carrying medicine in their nanotubes to the targeted cancer cell. You can send these carbon nanoparticles into the cancer cell where they release this particular medicine and treat the entire cancer. They can be used for cancer treatment. They can be used for better image creation in diagnostics. Okay, they can be used for targeted delivery of vaccines, regenerative medicine are the applications of nanotechnology. Very important, my friend. Cancer treatment, diagnostics, clear diagnostics, and they can also be used for improved vaccine delivery. When it comes to the energy application of nanotechnology, simple. Carbon, they store the allotrophies of carbon, you have seen, Buckminster you have seen, they store what? They store the hydrogen gas which can be used as a fuel in the later time. They store lithium which can be used as an energy in the later time without any loss of energy. Now my friends, if you are using nanotechnology, your car surface will become smooth. The air resistance on the car will decrease. It will save energy. Carbon nanotubes do not allow emission of lot of heat where energy is lost, and in that way also you can use all that energy. You can develop photovoltaic cells, that is solar cells, which are much efficient. Okay, so these are the properties and they make the vehicle lighter. When the vehicle becomes lighter, you use less amount of fuel than others. And they also, when you are using nanotechnology, there is no loss of electricity while you are using nanotechnology. Now environmental remediation also can be done by using nanotechnology, my friends. That is, by using these nanoparticles, you can clear the environmental pollutants like oil pollution on the sea, you can clear that oil pollution, and all those can also be used for environmental treatment. You can desalinate the water. Okay, we have developed nano fabrics which can easily absorb all the oil on the surface of the sea when there happens an oil accident. And we can also develop environmental friendly clothings, that is clothes which do not take order. See, some days you are seeing in the YouTube or here and there that there are clothings which cannot get stained or which cannot get smelly, right? There will be no stain and no smell on them, right? So that's what it is created. Future transport, yes, vehicles become lighter, flexible, more strength. As we were discussing, the future transportation means when the vehicle becomes lighter and lighter because of nanotechnology. When we are using nano paints, the air resistance is also reduced because of this nano paints. You are saving a lot of energy, and this energy saving will also be what? Eco-friendly for the future transportation. We are making our future transportation cleaner. You see, in every bike there is a catalytic converter which observes the harmful pollutants released because of the combustion of petrol or diesel in the vehicle. And you can improve the catalytic converter by using nanotechnology so that all the harmful pollutants are what? Observed by the catalytic converters in the vehicles. This is another important thing, my friend. When it's food, application of nanotechnology in the food. One, you can improve the food nutrients. Two, you can detect what are the different pollutants or the pesticides or the chemicals which are available on the food surface by simply using this. Okay, this is another thing about the nano application. Textiles, very important thing. As I said you, orderless textiles. Textiles which cannot be stained, right? And these clothings, what you are wearing, they get stained, they get smelly, they cannot be used, they become tight and they can be broken. But not like that. Most sophisticated technical textiles, what are those? Technical textiles can be developed by using nanotechnology. Clothes that do not get wrinkled, the clothes which are water resistant, the clothes which are not static in nature, because sometimes this static energy is very harmful in some industries. The clothes which are wrinkle resistant, high strength, which can block ultraviolet rays, which can be used for computing, and antibacterial and odorless clothing can be developed. When you see the development of nanotechnology in the field of sports, you can make exoskeleton for the sports person. You can make strong clothing, better clothing where the sports injuries are reduced. And when a sports person get injured, he can be regenerative medicine can be used by nanotechnology. Okay, you can use light weighted cycles, light weighted clothings which are flexible and which are useful in sports industry. But this nanotechnology also has some concern, that is, we do not know how much of this nanotechnology is good and bad. Enough research has not been done, and in India there is no single regulatory authority regulating this nanotechnology. For example, in the case of medicine there is another regulatory authority, in the case of application in the environment there is another authority. So there is no single authority managing the nanotechnology as a whole, and we do not know what is the harm it could cause. Sometimes these nanoparticles can enter into our bloodstream, and these nanoparticles could cause harm rather than creating good thing on our body. Okay, so these are few concerns, environmental, ethical concerns are there. So as I said you, in India there is no single regulatory body to regulate this nanotechnology, that's why it is harmful. Now advantages, if you see a windmill, you see large windmill, it has large amount of wings, right? You can make these wings lighter and lighter by using nanotechnology. One is that your electronic devices will become more sophisticated, thinner, faster, and they can also emit less amount of radiation and heat. And it will allow you to develop good medicines, treatment, faster and effective treatments can be done. When it comes to disadvantage, they can be creating environmental pollution, they can destroy the jobs in the market, and they might also create security challenges to a particular country. Now, in India, to develop the nanotechnology, my friend, India has started a mission called as Nano Mission in the year 2007. Okay, the major aim of this Nano Mission is to make India a hub for nanotechnology and to create personnel of nanotechnology who can practice this nanotechnology, that is human resource development in nanotechnology, international collaboration, application of nanotechnology in various fields, and infrastructure development in the nanotechnology has been developed under this Nano Mission. My friend, because of the successful implementation of Nano Mission, India today have one of the world's largest resources of nanotechnology knowledge based people in the world. Now, one simple current affair, India has recently developed something called as nano urea. Okay, this one bottle of nano urea, my friend, can be used for at least 10 hectares of land. Such a great technology was introduced by India. This was developed by IFCO. Now, let's see a preliminary question whether you can solve it or not. Now, which of the following, consider the statement with reference to the carbon nanotubes. Let's see. They can be used as a carrier of drugs and antigens in the human body. I have said you, because these carbon nanotubes get easily penetrated into the cell membranes. This is absolutely correct. They can be made into the artificial blood capillaries for injured part of human body. Yes, nanotechnology can be used for regenerative medicine. Yes. They can be used in biochemical sensors. Absolutely yes. Carbon nanotubes are biodegradable. Just now I said you, they are oxidative in nature, they are biodegradable in nature. This one point you can see, they can be used as biosensors. I said you, in food biotechnology, we can use these nano sensors to say whether food is polluted or not. That's what here he has given. So all the statements given above are correct. Let's see one more last question. Nanotechnology is science, engineering and technology conducted at nanoscale, that is 1 to 100 nanometers. Yes, this is the definition. The efficiency in the use of nanotechnology in solar panels already gone up to 46% from 15% and it can climb up to 50%. Yes, both the statements are correct. By using nanotechnology, can we improve the efficiency? Yes, absolutely, we can improve the efficiency of solar panels. So this is the end of nanotechnology, but before going, I'll give you some important points with respect to nanotechnology. One, they can be used in energy storage. Two, they have wide amount of application. They can be used in regenerative medicine. And most of the nanotechnology, we do not have proper research. That's why we cannot say whether they are harmful or not. But they are also a threat to the Indian security. So be careful while reading these slides so that you are able to solve most number of questions. So thank you for watching. Thank you.